Welcome back to a best-of-3 series of professional StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a Protoss versus Zerg, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on Blackburn. Spotting right here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, playing with the blue Protoss probes from the United States of America, we have none other than Astrea. Now, if you've been watching the YouTube channel for a little while, especially over the last couple of Astrea casts, you probably know that I'm quickly becoming a bit of an Astrea fanboy. I mean, in an age of Stargate openers, right? Astrea has been like a beacon of light, even at this level. So as I'll be making this video, he's currently considered to be the rank 18 overall, the rank 1 from the USA. Even at this level, Astrea still plays his own build orders. Nobody really plays like he does, and from what I've heard in this particular PvZ, he once again mixes it up as well. So I'm excited to find out exactly what he ended up going for as he plans down a Nexus first. Alright. His opponent, in the bottom left. Another man I'm a huge fan of. I mean, I guess I'm just a fan of high-level StarCraft. Anyways, playing here with the red Zerg drones from Germany, we are looking at Lambo's main hatchery. The thing about Lambo's style, I mean, he's from Germany, and I know that, like, the efficiency is a bit of a stereotype, but there's no denying that Lambo does play a very efficient style of Zerg. If you're looking to get better, he will, generally speaking, play the best and the most optimal strategy that he can think of. Obviously, in tournament games, you do have to mix it up. I mean, becoming predictable is, like, the last thing you want in tournament matches, but if you're looking to improve on your, 1v1 ladder games, or in your 1v1 ladder games, you should definitely have a look at Lambo's strats, because he's not afraid to just play stock standard Zerg. Now, if you don't know what that means, you should probably study some of his replays. Anyways, what's the follow-up right here from Astrea? So I haven't seen these games yet, but from what I've heard, he decides to mix it up. So it's a Nexus first into double gateway into a Cyber Core. All right. So Nexus first is not really that crazy. We do see it from time to time, but obviously if it's a pool first opener from Zerg, it could backfire pretty hard, especially if you get like this very first pylon snipe. That can be an absolute disaster. Usually though, what we see right here from the Protoss player is that as soon as this cybernetics core finishes up, he's going to be able to transition towards either a Twilight Council, a robotics facility, or of course, in the current meta of StarCraft 2, a Stargate. Now, if you're going to open up double gateway like this, can you afford it? So, okay, he goes double adept. Yeah, and then he goes straight into the warp gate research as well. So the problem is obviously that these units cost gas, right? Believe it or not. And then the research over here also costs gas. So Astrea cannot afford the tech structure right now. He took the gases in the main base pretty quick. This one is not even saturated yet, so I guess he's mining 3 probes in gas only right now. Yeah, so this is another classic example of an Astrea build. It's something that he and he alone practices. And because of that, he's very hard to predict. So what are we doing right now? We're chasing down a scouting Zergling. It's a 3rd adept right now as a follow-up together with a Stalker. And we haven't seen a tech structure just yet. There's also a proxy pylon going down at the back of the Zerg's gold. Lambo right now probably also scratching his head a little bit. Not entirely sure what he's going up against. So there's the Stalker. Normally we don't see a Stalker at this stage in the game either. Anyways, he's followed it up with a standard 3rd base for now. Link speed is going to finish very soon, so he should be able to get some follow-up scouts as well. Lambo, yeah, he's already sniffed out that something is a little bit awkward in this game, and he is looking around the map for proxy pylons. All right, he finds the one in the... He finds the one in the back of the gold base. So what are we doing right now, Astrea? Still no Twilight, still no Robo, 2 additional gateways going down. So pretty much every single Protoss versus Zerg, we see Protoss players rushing out one of those 3 structures. So wait, we've got a 3rd Nexus going down at, what was that? 350? 355 or so? This is something that Lambo can see as well with his Overlord. Link's right now working on the pylon on the back. Couple of adepts moving across the map. So this is going to be about 8 adepts in total without glaives. A very slow warp in over here as well. I mean, this is an Astrea built to a T. And it's hard not to love it. In an age of Stargates, he's the only one... Well, I mean, there's a couple players doing it. But at this level, it's uncommon to see build orders that are out of the ordinary. Now, there is a good reason why these build orders are out of the ordinary. Because imagine if Zerg was just sniffing out this, you know, Adept opener a little bit sooner, and they would have just simply surrounded the Adepts as they went across the map. Then, obviously, Zerg could straight up counterattack and just kill the third Nexus. And at that point, this is still going to be a bit of a disaster. But Astrea dealing some damage here on the other side of the map. He really needs to put down a shield battery, though. Because these links are coming across. That's a little bit late. I wonder if the third base is now going to be vulnerable. There's 4 more Adepts over here. I think these are actually almost like... I think these may actually almost be sacrificial Adepts. Just buying time right now for that shield battery to finish up. 2 more warp pins right over there. Tucked between the pylon as well as the Nexus. And now we see finally the tech structure in that robotics facility. So one of the issues with Robo and Twilight openers compared to Stargates is that you usually cannot take your third base until like 5 minutes into the game. So Astrea opened up without any tech structure, took the third base at 5 minutes, or sorry, at like 4 minutes, pre-4 minutes, and then he dealt some damage on the other side of the map while still staying alive. It's hard not to be an Astrea fan, dude. It's really good. It's really fun. It's also kind of cool to see someone from the USA actually do really well at the pro level. Neep, obviously, for a while there was looking very strong, but Astrea definitely has been impressing me a little bit more, especially over the last year or so than Neep has. All right. We never really see more than like 2 Adepts in the early game, especially when you don't open Glaives. Now, interestingly enough, there is a Twilight Council right now planted down for Astrea, but he's actually researching Blink. So that indicates a Stalker transition. There's the Robo facility producing a Warp Prism. 4 more gateways going down. So we're going to go up to 8 gateways here, plus 1 ground weapons, and I guess Blink Stalker? Another downside of not opening up with Stargate units is that you have to worry about other Zerg units than what you face off against than when you open up with a Stargate, right? Units like, for example, the Mutalisk are almost like auto-countered. I mean, not entirely, but they are countered just by showing that you have a Stargate planted down, because there's some hard counters that Protoss can make inside of those Stargates, right? And worrying about Mutalisks is one of the worst features of playing Protoss. I mean, if you've ever played Protoss, you know the feeling of just suddenly getting like 10 mutas in your main base. It's a disaster. If you don't scout it, you're basically dead. But besides that, there's a lot of counters that Zerg has to those Protoss ground units, right? Like, for example, Brute Lords, Hydras, Lurkers, Ling Bane. I mean, there's a load of different options. Whereas against Stargate, the Stargate openers, things are a little bit more limited. I like this so much, though. Astrea being very aggressive while still matching the Zerg here in economy. So he's actually sitting at full 3-base saturation. He does need to be careful, though, because there's a lot of links right now on the production tab. Lambo is taking the gold base as well. Wouldn't be surprised to maybe even see the base in the top left-hand corner here, taken in just a little bit. There's the Dark Shrine coming up. Also, not in a transition out. Is he making only Nerazim units? He, by the way, blinked into the main base. Oh, I love it. Sentries over here also added into the mix, preventing some of those Zerg units from walking up the ramp. And obviously the corrosive biles right there are capable of popping those force fields. So eventually the Zerg units do break through. Recall on some of it, blink on some of it as well. And Astrea manages to get out. The drones, though, were pulled at the same time. A couple of links on the other side of the map did take care of that 4th base of Protoss. All right, maybe that was a little bit overly ambitious right there from Astrea. Lambo right now very smartly goes into a hive and then also a lurker den. Okay, so most of the time against Protoss ground, we see Brute Lord openers. But usually, I mean, the Stalker base openers are followed up with Colossi. Or Colossi first and then into Stalkers. Apparently this one is followed with Dark Shrine. I don't know. Anyway. I can only imagine that lurkers are going to be absolutely fantastic against all of those units. Like the ones that Astrea has right now. I mean, Brute Lords would be quite bad here, right? Couple of corrosive biles connecting with the Zerg units as well. Not quite ideal. Prism down south. Couple of depths right now moving all the way around. There is a Dark Templar warped in somewhere. Okay, so a couple of them are being warped in and sent to different locations on the map. Astrea ready to counter a base in the top left that doesn't even exist. I don't recommend you sit out in the middle of the map, by the way, with your Protoss army. It's very dangerous, but... Okay, Dark Templar in the main. Spore Crawlers were obviously skipped in this situation because, well, guess what? There was no Stargate. Spore Crawlers are detectors as well. Okay, well, Overseers are too. Nemesis Carapace starts up right away. Oh my god, the Stalkers even blink forward aggressively into that Roach Ravager ball. Another patented Astrea build. This whole game is completely different than the current meta. And you can see that Lambo is scratching his head in the whole situation, right? He's like, what? What's going on right now? This isn't supposed to work. Anyways. Soon there's gonna be lurkers out, though. And I feel like lurkers are gonna be... Oh my... Never mind. Scratch that. Lurkers are gonna be really good, is what I was gonna say. Couple Adepts, couple Dark Templar in the main base. Taking care of this easy peasy. It's just a pure Stalker freaking Dark Templar bowl. Are you kidding me? Lurker Den number 2 is coming up right now in the back of the Natural Expo. I love this as well. Morphs these units into Archons. One of them did get recalled right there in time. Alright, eventually though, this Stalker army will probably be pushed back. I wouldn't even have minded seeing like a second Evo chamber here for Lambo to go for like melee upgrades. But obviously you don't really expect your opponent to stick around on... Well, how many Stalkers? 32? Look at the army. We're 11 minutes into the game. We have one Archon because he kind of had to. And then he's got, you know, a bunch of Stalkers out. That Archon wasn't even really meant to exist, right? I mean, those were Dark Templar morphed together. Fourth base, up and running. The creep spread, by the way, still looking pretty good as well, right? Oh, Zealots marching on over towards the Natural Expo. Ranged upgrade here for Lurkers is coming up. Stalkers harassing the back of the base. Zealots, oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's a little bit ambitious, but I guess at the very least they can soften up that hive. It's unlikely that Zerg will actually heal that one back up to full. Maybe some DTs can come in later and just finish the job. I am a little bit concerned, though, for just like a maxed out Zerg ball going straight across the map. Because Lambo is going to get maxed out seismic spines here on those lurkers, right? And he's going to be able to get the burrow upgrade very... Yeah, there it is. It started as well, so... I don't really see what a mass Stalker army is going to do against that. I mean, if you can pick them off one at a time, that's obviously pretty good. Some static defense has been planted down as well. Obviously, these are also detectors. Since the lurkers are burrowed, you do need some of those detectors to actually spot them. I mean, having an observer nearby is obviously very important. Against this pure Roach Ravager bull, though, I'm surprised with how effective those lurkers are actually... Or, sorry, those Stalkers are actually doing, right? Like, they're doing a great job. Once again, Dark Templar. Moving on over towards the top left-hand corner. Dark Templar as well with a prism. Alright, this is where Zerg decides to be a little bit more aggressive, though. And how are you gonna break this? You can't really go in here. Lurkers are in range. Dark Templar, though? Oh my god, absolutely decimated over here. Well, they decimate, you know, the mineral line here as well as that hatchery. Dark Templar going to town. Oh god, they really wanted to get that Lurker Den as well. Keep in mind, the hive is also almost dead, right? So, like, if he gets both of those tech structures, that would be absolutely massive. 49 drones have gone down in this game so far. The Nexus, though, does indeed fall here eventually. There's no way that that one is going to stay alive. Oh, couple of probes here. Yeah, okay, well, a couple. 20 probes right here. Also decided to go around the Nexus there, which may have not been the most optimal route with those lurker spines connecting on them. Gold base is gone, though. Base in the top left also in a lot of trouble, I think, once these DTs started working on it. Lurker Den is very low. Hive is also very low, but Lambo apparently smelling blood in the water. He wants to try and see if he can get in here, right now. I mean, Lurkers burrowed on his high ground would be extremely difficult to break with the army composition that Astrea has. And keep in mind, this is also where all of his production is at. I think he was going to transition towards a couple of those disruptors here, but I mean, at this point, yeah, the robo facilities get targeted down. There's one more observer that will pop here, so that's going to be helpful, I guess. There's also an observer right over there. Stalkers on the other side of the map. Picking off whatever they can. But the real problem right now is in Astrea's natural. All of his tech got destroyed. Well, I guess the Robo Bay can live for now, but this is where even more of that production is at. I guess in the game that we've been watching so far, actually a huge chunk of Road Ravager just got caught in the middle of the map. In the game that we've been watching so far, though, the entire Protoss army, it hasn't really been tech-based. It's just been, like, gateway-based, right? He's got most of his gateway production over here, and he does decide to defend it right now. He actually manages to get a full surround on this Road Ravager Hydra Lurker army, and he cleans it up easy peasy. Quite a large chunk of the units, though, did sneak away. Lambo decided to disengage there, probably realizing the situation he was in. But right now, he's actually in a very weird spot. Lambo is, taking care of some of that economy, but there's a base in the top right. There's the Golden Expo that's still happily mining. I think a lurker over there in the back of that mineral line would have been really good. Now the Zealots are going to town on the base in the top left-hand corner too. I think they will be killed, but not without taking down that base as well. You know what? Some of them will be able to go home. Stalkers in the main base. Dude, Astrea's everywhere. Yeah, just take out the Hive, bro. Finish the job. Now, I will say that this is much, much, much harder to play than those Stargate openers, right? So I understand that most players are not gonna try to do this, but the American Protoss here showing us that it is perfectly viable and definitely something that you can pull off. Because obviously Lambo is a ridiculously good player. This is very stressful as well, right? 10 more Dark Templar. He's treating Dark Templar like Zealot run-bys, right? Except that these deal way more damage. Anyways, nice little hit squad right here from Lambo, dealing damage on the other side of the map. Top right-hand corner does go down. We are now 17 minutes into the game, almost, and I have no idea who's actually winning. I still think I like Lambo's army a little bit better straight up. Oh my god, he catches the lurkers! That's like 3 or 4 lurkers going down there. That lurker den is also dead. Well, you should really go take it out, Astrea. That is my biggest concern here by far. Oh my god, well, here we go. Very nice concave setup. Part of the Stalkers blink forward, and they do manage to snipe those lurkers there. Hydra den goes down. Lurker den still up and running for now, but you obviously need Hydras to be able to morph them into lurkers. And since the Hive at this point is gone, he can't actually make another Hydra den. Once again, the recall right there, very effective. These Archons are going to finish morphing in soon at home, and they're going to be able to join the main army over here too. Alright. Can't believe he actually didn't finish off the lurker den. I wouldn't mind seeing a new robo facility as well. There is a Stargate right now. Like, the problem is he needs detection, right? So there are still 4 observers available. There's one with the main army as well. But once those fall, there's not going to be a whole lot here for the Protoss player to detect those lurkers. Then again, yeah, the lair is only just now started up. Lambo can't actually add on any more lurkers if he doesn't have any Hydras. Which, at this point, he's got 1. There she is. Okay, Archons here do get killed. Those are very expensive units, of course. Dark Templar? No, actually Zealots. Going to town right here inside of the 3rd base of the Zerg player. Once again, a concave here in favor of Astrea. Astrea's all over the map, and he seems to be in control of everything. GG. Okay, so game number 2. We find ourselves on Berlingrad. I think we can all expect what Lambo is going to do. He'll probably open up Hatch Gas Pool. What exactly is Astrea going to go for here? So in the previous game, he went Nexus first into double gateway, 2 Adepts, then another Adept as well as a Stalker. Then I think he added on 2 gateways in the main base. Chrono boosted out the Warp Gate Research. Sent like 8 Adepts across the map while simultaneously taking a third at like 355. Pylon right next to the third base, as well as a shield battery. I think the shield battery is a little later than it needed to be, but honestly that seemed like a relatively viable opener. Anyways, this time around it's going to be a more conventional start. So gateway first into a gas geyser. I'm still expecting a pretty quick nexus on the low ground here, but... Oh, you can actually see the third? Oh, yeah, you can. Astrea going to the very corner of the Zerg's main base to see if that triangular expansion has been taken. And now it's time to be a jerk with the probe. Try and mess up the mining time. Fun fact. The StarCraft 2 pro players these days do use rapid fire on their gather command. So if you say like the Protoss probe right here is being a nuisance, right? You would select the drone, and in my case, my rapid fire command is A. I would hold down the hotkey A and just hover over a mineral field. Rapid firing the gather command makes it much easier to go against these sorts of probe harassments, I guess, in the earlier stages of the game. It's one of those small things that's relatively annoying because you do have the micro against it. If you don't, the drones are gonna like flip and flop all over the base. I'm sure that Astrea is using rapid fire for that command as well. It's much better than just smashing right click. Anyways. Adept first, straight into the Warp Gate Research again. So the Warp Gate Research at this point indicates usually that it's not a Stargate opener, although Astrea could definitely still go for a Stargate opener, but it would be a delayed one. Normally if you go for the Stargate opener, you delay the Warp Gate Research. Okay, so we're coming up on 100 gas. Okay, I think Astrea might be going Stargate. No, it's actually a Robo. Okay, it was just a little late in the Robo. I get a Robo facility first, so like, I guess that has to be a Prism quickly? I mean, you can also go Observer, you can obviously also go, you can even go for an Immortal if you really want to. We used to see Robo facility first regularly back in the day when Protoss used to do a lot of like 2-base all-ins. So we would see like 8 Gateway, Immortal, Sentry. I'm trying to think of like the times I've seen Robo first, you know? Anyways, Lambo goes into the main base and he scouts it. It's a nice thing to know. He is dealing with the Adepts in the meantime on the other side of the map. They are dealing some damage here, but the Queens should be able to push them back relatively easily. Yeah, so it is going to be a Prism here. I would like to see when Astrea decides to take his third base. So that's usually like one of the main issues, right? So like I said, with a Twilight and a Robo opener, usually we don't see the third base until about the 5-minute mark. Which means that you have to deal some sort of damage on the other side of the map. Whereas with a Stargate opener, you can comfortably take it at about 350. And as long as you have a Void Ray out, it's totally fine. So it is an Immortal right now as a follow-up. That is a very quick Immortal. There's already a Sentry in the Wolof too. Double gas? Okay, no, just one gas. 2 Adepts still being a nuisance over here. This could actually be an Immortal-based push. So, is he... Okay, what are we gonna do right now? If he goes for another... Yeah, he goes for another Immortal! I think that this is actually an Immortal Sentry-based push, which is a build that was popular in, like... I mean, I'm gonna sound like a boomer, but this is, like, Heart of the Swarm times. Okay, before, like, Zerg got the Ravager added and all that. Did they get that in Legacy? I think they did. Anyways, the problem with Immortal Sentry pushes is that it is relatively easy to counter if you know that it's coming. The problem is I have not seen an Immortal Sentry push in years, literally. They can reach that? Oh my god, I had no idea. That's for Reapers, bro. Astrea didn't get the memo. So wait, Astrea's going 8 Gateway, triple Immortal, Sentry push. So the reason why you want to get 3 Immortals is because 3 Immortals is enough to one-shot a Roach. Lambo's already sitting at 56 drones. He really needs to stop droning right now. I actually think he needed to stop droning like 6 drones ago. So Lambo at this point, also confused, is adding on a Spore Crawler here. Really does not want to be caught off guard against like Dark Templar or Sudden Stargate units. I mean, he's scouting his opponent third base. Has he gotten a glimpse yet of the Immortals? I mean, the Immortals have been in the wall-off. I think Zerging to the front would have been really nice. Lair starts up. That's the last thing he needs. This is a huge misread right now from Lambo. Lambo goes to the high ground right now. This is where he first sees the Immortal Sentry Army. What year is it? Alright. So, I guess we're gonna send the Spore Crawlers to the front to try and, I guess, prevent that Prism from just being part of the battle. Lambo desperately getting whatever he can right now. But there's so many force fields available. Yeah, those sentries are gonna be able to, well, for example, kill Brenda over there. Oh my god. There's no charge, there's no blink, there's no glaives, there's no Stargate. The force fields are excellent. Corrosive Vial's there on cooldown for a little while, so Lambo's thinking about setting up a surround over here. He needs to deal a lot of damage, though, because there's obviously no third base with this, right? I mean, this is, for all intents and purposes, a 2-base all-in right here from Protoss. I think it's working. Isn't it? I mean, that's 20 drones going down. There's some damage over here in the Natural Expo, apparently, too. Oh my god. Well, now the Protoss army is on top of the third base. I think Astrea just pulled off 2 amazing strategies here in a Zerg versus Protoss. A matchup that has been very well figured out at the professional level for, well, about a year or 2 right now. Astrea is bringing it back. This is something that Zerg can counter by figuring out exactly what's happening, but usually you want to stop droning at like 45 or so, maybe 48 if you're feeling greedy. I think Lambo right there was sitting at 56 drones. He made spores as well, so that's like another 5 drones down the drain, right? I mean, the cost of the spores, and then also obviously the larva and the drones that it costs to actually make all of that. Anyways, Astrea ends up obtaining the victory 2-0 with 2 awesome build orders.